Hi, Mr. Minnick here. I'm going to review a high school teacher's custom GPT. This is the first GPT, custom GPT, that he's ever made in his career. So let's go. It's being entered into track 3B of uh, the Presidential AI Challenge in 2026. Here is the rubric that I recommend that he work from and engineer his custom GPT to fulfill this rubric first and foremost. Okay, starting with the review. So first, I wanted to do a behavior check. I wanted to make sure that it doesn't give answers. That is the underlying theme of his custom GPT. Well, it's not the theme. The theme is that students learn new understandings. But given the fact that so many students are lured into getting one-shot answers or doing a little prompting in ChatGPT to get answers for assignments, he wants to dissuade or even encourage the students to specifically not ask for the answers and work with him via the custom GPT to learn and learn how to learn in this new era where so many answers, so many factual and process answers are available, even more than when Google and Yahoo search engines were sprung on the world about 20 years ago. Okay, here it goes. So he named his custom GPT Cell Growth and Reproduction Study Coach. Currently, it's linked to the OpenAI ChatGPT 5.2 model, and perhaps a student finds a question in his content management system, which in this case happens to be Schoology, where the student is supposed to make a poster or an illustration that depicts the fluid mosaic nature of the cell, and you can read the rest of the prompt yourself. So this is pretty much a task that the student has, a few days or a week to complete. So when prompting his custom GPT, the GPT responds with this result. I think a judge in this concept test would like to see this in video or perhaps in interactive form or a series of PowerPoint slides, that this is how this teacher's uh, working with his students. He's showing them the the breakdown of critical things that they should have in the illustration, that the poster that they be making, without actually making the poster and giving them basically a working draft, rough draft, or a final copy. So I tested his custom GPT as if I were a judge or his administrator or just some Luddite that doesn't like AI. I tested it by providing the same prompt, the same hypothetical student prompt, some would say inevitable student prompt, where the students are just trying to take an easy way out. Maybe they're frustrated, maybe they're not, quote, lazy. Either way, students typically or often would ask the same prompt to the regular old ChatGPT. So here is that same question, that same prompt, and you'll notice here in the upper left corner that this test is not using his custom GPT. This is just a one-shot uh, attempt to get an answer in regular old ChatGPT on a cell phone or in a web browser like I'm using. Well, look, it generated this poster. This poster right there probably could be printed out uh, and submitted for possibly, depending on how it gets graded, a high A. Now it has that look that, well, high school students probably don't have the skill with an Adobe or a Canvas type of tool to make this with all these nice curves on the arrows and font choices and design layout choices. And then the graphic itself with the gradients. Oh my, this looks good. Well, that's what ChatGPT does in literally less than a minute of crunching using its image editor behind the scenes. Now, ignore everything that's down here because that was me, later on, uh, continuing a prompt. Okay, so there was no instruction. There was no, check it out here. His custom GPT broke down the concepts in a way that the students can understand these pieces of the eventual graphic. And yeah, maybe the student just takes out a piece of, good old-fashioned poster paper, grabs the markers, the colored pencils, and goes to town with their own creativity, added to the mix rather than ChatGPT's creativity. Okay, continuing. So I think he's going to favorably be graded in a number of these rubric items for working with the student, helping them learn to learn, rather than just, well, giving answers that they probably will have no chance of understanding any better than had they not even taken the class. Okay, continuing with this review. I'm also checking here to see if the, uh, 1 second here, I just wanted to check something else. Oh yeah, I also am testing to see if after the chatbot gives its first reply, if it gives sort of suggested uh, follow-up questions or a guide that follows the prompt response that encourages the student to further think. So we've reduced the cognitive load by breaking down this incredibly hard concept that I, the speaker in this video, have no memory of at all from honors biology class in high school 40 years ago, sadly. Um, and the cognitive load was like spread out, and the student can look at the short phrases. There's no chunky paragraph of text with big words from the textbook. It's like you can eat this. It's like a steak that's been cut up into pieces. So it's high cognitive thinking, but it's spread out. The load is sort of spread out over the back of a big flatbed truck rather than stacked up really high. Okay, so at the end of this, ChatGPT, his custom ChatGPT, is now suggesting that the student turn this into a study sheet that he or she can like review at quick glances throughout the next week before a unit test, or a blank diagram to label, or a quiz question, similar to like this teacher perhaps uses Kahoot or some other Quizlet type of formative assessment in class. So the student is encouraged to make tools that will require follow-up student thinking. Let's check out the other use of ChatGPT in a negative way, I would argue, and so would this teacher, of course, because he did all the work to make a custom GPT. Yeah, he did some coding and stuff behind the scenes. Anyway, this one had nothing. There was no suggestion for like how to use this poster. Look, that is ChatGPT at its worst. It just gives you the answer that it clearly, well, if it had an ethical mind to it, can pretty much intuit that the student is in a biology class, probably um, asking for help with an assignment. And there was no follow-up here. Okay, so again, he's going to score very high on the rubric and feel good about his teaching, and the student, of course, will have a good experience in this class. Okay, continuing with my review of this teacher's first ever custom GPT. Do either of these modes of using ChatGPT solve the problem for the student too quickly? Well, clearly this one solved the problem too quickly. And it doesn't even like suggest like how it could have been revised if there's something on here that's like hallucinate hallucinative, I don't know if that's a word, just incorrect. It's not even suggesting how the student would like sort of like further edit or check this. Over here, we've already established that it didn't draw the poster. It didn't make the diagram. These are just these diagrams are just pictures to support the understanding of pieces of the overall diagram that would be necessary for a good grade. So in this case, clearly we're being given these extension thinking questions to go further and eventually solve the problem with scaffolding from this custom GPT. So I then prompted, as if I were a student, just speaking for a friend, a student friend, as you can read for yourself here, I put myself into the mindset of a ninth or 10th grade student taking honors biology. And you can see I'm not giving away personal information. Students should not be typing in their last name and their street address and maybe even their age. They should not be typing in. So I didn't say that I'm a 10th grader, but I did say that my parents said I should go into medicine. And his custom GPT comes back and gives that sort of reassuring sense that, hey, student, I understand your plight. Okay, but more constructively, or just as constructively, but for the learning, the custom GPT is giving a top-down explanation, because in the prompt that you can read when I slow down here, the student said he or she was like, well, I gave a gender to the student, that they were confused by all this. The student, suggests that the teacher means well in class, but stuff goes by so fast, and the student's a little shy. And the student suggests that the GPT give this information parallel or analogous to something that she is familiar with, such as fashion or K-pop. Okay, so many students might not have the awareness that they can interact with ChatGPT in this way. I have to be careful here because I, right now, as a 50-something that's been around in education for, well, my whole professional career and my whole life, because I was a student before that, I don't want character.ai or these other tools luring kids into relationships with a, a cold, like, uh, data center somewhere. So if we can teach the kids or model to the kids how to do this correctly, appropriately in 2026, I think we're going to go places. We're all going to go places, and avoid the addictions and the self hurt and bullying and all. Okay, I'm not sure how to do that, but maybe this teacher can work that into the instruction sets that are behind the scenes of this study coach. And that probably would be evaluated kindly on the rubric in a couple of these elements. Okay, so what did his custom GPT say in response to this? I'll pause for a second so the video watcher can review this. Oh, yeah, it's comparing a cell to a K-pop company. And look how it uses bold, one department at a time. I get it. And I'm not even into fashion. There's a reason why I don't have that selfie video going on right now in this video. This I just have a t-shirt on, and it's not even a stylish t-shirt at that. Okay, so notice the construction of these steps. Short phrases, something that's not going to increase my cognitive load to a point where I get frustrated and just close the laptop computer, the iPad, whatever I'm working with right now as a student. I can now understand more of this biology in the context of something I'm familiar with. And I bet the teacher is not up to date on K-pop or fashion. So this is something that his study coach gives humanness even more. And he is a particularly human kind of guy. He has a style to him that probably is not easy to clone in any high school in the United States of America. I've seen him, I know him a little bit, got to know him this year, and he is a unique guy, a man. And this ChatGPT is kind of relating to the student in a way that his personality might not gel with. Okay, so notice here at the end of this reply, the custom GPT is giving further ideas to help the student extend his or her thinking. Now let's take a look at that same type of second prompt over here in the ChatGPT that, well, was not customized, just straight up right off the kid's cell phone, perhaps. The student says that she's really confused, the same prompt. And then it just comes back with all these big words. It tries. It tries to put phospholipid bilayer in terms of a two-layer outfit, like a doll. But it continues to use these big words, and notice the chunkiness of this text. It's trying, but it doesn't know the context of the student with this teacher's particular set of notes and other ways of teaching at this high school in Maine, hometown USA. Because he's put over in his custom GPT, he's added perhaps his syllabus, his unique notes that are in line with his course of study and his syllabus and all that. Over here, ChatGPT, just straight up off the shelf, it just doesn't know how this high school and this state and this teacher's way of presenting honors biology is being done. So it, I think, probably increases the cognitive load and confusion on the student. Over here, he's keeping it short. His custom GPT is keeping it short. Well, that's not an accident. He engineered this custom GPT to act like this. Perhaps I'll make another video showing his behind the scenes code that any biology teacher, I would argue, that has a professional degree and is invigorated can do this. You don't have to be a computer science guru. Okay, so good score on the contest rubric. Now, another way that I'm going to review his work is to see if a student who is absent from class can get caught up. This prompt here that we just checked out, it's like specific to some assignment that's upcoming. So here is me asking, as you can see here, his custom GPT, see in the upper right left corner, what did I miss in the last few days of class? And ChatGPT custom style breaks down what the student missed in the past few days. This would no doubt take a full after school, sort of a half hour for the teacher to do one-on-one with the student. And if the student's getting help from other students that weren't absent, that's great. But that also would probably not be as thorough and efficient. So he has his lesson plans and his calendar baked into the behind the scenes construction of this custom GPT. He's just becoming a more awesome teacher, delivering, taking advantage of current, affordable or free tools to meet the students where they are and maybe even have them pass him an understanding of some of this stuff. Okay, so that's good that the student can get caught up quickly. Hey, let's take a quick look at what good old stock GPT does. Can you explain what I missed in the last few days? I mean, this is stupid. Why would a student ask a ChatGPT this kind of a question? Because it doesn't even know over here in this context what class the student's in. See, right here, because I'm using my plus account of ChatGPT, it happens to know I'm not using a off the shelf like new ChatGPT. So it knows that I'm a computer science teacher by trade. It also knows that in some other tab windows that I've been talking about bio. So it's kind of like prepped a little bit to help me here. it wouldn't even be this close to helping a student. Here it's, it's again, it's not really ever going to work. And look, there's not really anything as a follow-up here for me to do that would extend my thinking. It is trying to be humorous. I can snap this back into place like a Lego. The model 5.2 has some kind of like personality to it that the old models 4 and 4.0, different people have different um, people that use chatbots regularly know that some of the different models from OpenAI have different styles. More, you can go learn about that somewhere else. Anyway, okay, great job on the judging rubric for this contest. And last of all, I just want to discuss that or emphasize that his GPT, his custom GPT right here, does indeed scaffold the student. It's particularly in this, what did I miss in the last few days? So that gets a good score on the rubric. It's not lectury. Again, it's breaking it down into steps and outlines. It has a little personality to it where it guides the student with support. We saw that over here where it talks about um, you know, thanking the student for saying this out loud. You're normal. Hey kid, you're normal. So it's not lectury like a teacher that just is all about business and just gives the facts right back to the student when they don't understand the facts in the first place. And it doesn't use the big vocabulary in its explanations. It doesn't over vocab like right here. Vocabulary, it's emphasizing in his custom GPT, vocabulary understanding comes after, vocab comes after understanding, to really ground the student in their emerging understanding. Over here, regular ChatGPT, I mean, it's just like some attorney is like legalese stuff. Like I'm confused looking at it. My cognitive load is redlined. Okay, last of all, I would just like to say, take a quick passing look at the rubric, and let's just talk about this and evaluate it as if we were the judge of this contest. Does he introduce a transformative approach to using AI tools? Well, heck yes. He's using a custom GPT, which not a lot of professionals in small businesses and mid corporate levels even know about. Unless you're in an IT department, and probably only parts of IT departments know how to go behind the scenes to make a custom GPT. He's definitely getting 15 points from me. It's relevant to the president and the White House and the administration's values. Yes, all over the executive orders and some other very broad national messages. Uh, President Trump and the administration is making a push to support AI in K through 12 specifically. You can see that documentation all over the place. So he's got it. Is the AI content clearly accurate and explained? Now, I don't have the knowledge to see if there are any hallucinations over here in these explanations, but I'm fairly content that he would be able to like change his instructions in the custom GPT to double down to make sure it uses the thinking model rather than the quick right off the top of its head model to give better, more likely to be accurate responses. So he could speak to the fact that he's using the 5.2 thinking model to give better answers. Right now, you can't be sure that it's always going to be correct. That's the downside of, admittedly, the downside of AI as of 2026. It's wildly wrong sometimes. Okay, hopefully in his narrative essay for this contest and his video that supports that, he explains that he developed this incrementally, step by step, learning this stuff on top of a busy teaching job and a family life. And that there are challenges. Like, for example, some schools don't allow students to click on the link that takes you to ChatGPT, much less a custom GPT. So hopefully his administration supports that. and the students' parents support it as well. And this is all communicated nicely to all parties, all stakeholders. Okay, quickly finishing this video up. Let's review this. Did he so far with custom GBT? Is this engaging? Yeah, it's actually kind of fun to see what it says back and to like, unravel this hard topic and make sense of this stuff in terms of K-pop or fashion. It's kind of actually interesting. Okay, to me, and I'd hope a lot of students, I think so. Okay, can this be replicated to other educators? I know everybody else in his science department would like understand how to use this as a student, and then he could show them the behind the scenes coding and the steps of how they can put their curricula and lesson plans and unique styles and approaches to the learning environment into their own custom GPTs. He could do that at a department meeting that high school teachers often have, or just stage it somewhere in the school website, or I'm sorry, their Google Drive or their Microsoft OneDrive per se. Okay, um, uh, this rubric element, this clearly enhances his teaching style and maybe even his classroom management, because students can be working with this and all simultaneously without having to stare at an overhead screen and be on the same page that he's on. He could be walking the room with students engaging this at their different spots of understanding in a given class period. Okay, he's going to be making a video, perhaps something similar to the walkthrough that I just did there. And I wish him well, and anyone else who participates in track 3 or just follows this motivationally, hopefully, to make their own custom GPTs beyond the end of this contest. And there we go. There is a look at his GPT versus bad, bad ChatGPT. Have a good day.